Fireside Moments with Connie Shaw and Jim Wright. Program 2, Surrogacy, Part 2. In Part 1 of Surrogacy, we gave practical examples of how to know when a client or a loved one is ready for change and clearing. We spoke of the reasons to use surrogates or stand-in substitutes for the healing process. Finally, we described the fact that a substitute client can hold a photo or an aspect of the client's vibrational pattern on a cotton ball while praying, meditating on them, or receiving gazing. We mentioned that there are hundreds of venues around the world where people are receiving healing due to the mercy and the grace of Jesus, Mother Mary, Sai Baba, and various saints, east and west. The purpose of including healing and miracle stories in our programs is to acquaint you with the fact that God is creative and surprising in His merciful love. Every shrine, grotto, or healing chapel, for example, is unique in its energetic vibrations. Learn to feel the vibrational quality of each person or place you encounter. Also, every client or sick person has a unique need and a unique life experience that they bring to the situation. Finally, you, as the instrument for God's work, have an unusual constellation of gifts that God is giving you specifically, so that He can provide His tender love and mercy to the suffering. In the moment that you're willing to be His voice and hands and feet in this dimension, you serve in the role of being a holy, empty emissary of His eternal love. In other words, you become His selfless servant, so that both you and the client can be shifted into the experience of your true nature as embodiments of love. In Part 2 of Surrogacy, Beyond Miracles, we outline the importance, as a spiritual aspirant, of receiving your graduation in Earth School, which is self-realization or bliss consciousness. There is so much more awaiting you than merely enjoying miracles, and there's nothing wrong with that. What this means is that our elder brothers and sisters, the saints, or ascended masters, are inviting us to become like them, to actually graduate into the company of heaven, the ascended host, while we're still here in our bodies, living lives as householders, looking and acting quite normally, as we are supernaturally empowered by God to be even more helpful to Him and to humanity as aware, helpful beings. To sum up, it's important to stress that if we simply focus on our addiction to the excitement of miracles, rather than going the full distance to self-realization or mergence with the spirit while still in the body, we will end up on a dead-end street that goes nowhere. This final leg of the spiritual journey is way beyond dogma. However, it's the living of God's eternal teachings that are essential. That means vigilance and living the Sanatana Dharma found in all faiths. The Sanskrit term Sanatana Dharma means the eternal values that sustain life on earth. Sanatana Dharma is two words. It is spelled capital S-A-N-A-T-A-N-A, T-H-A-N-A, Dharma or Dharma, capital D-H-A-R-M-A. In other words, the continual practice of the 5 human values of truth, peace, love, right action, and nonviolence are part of Sanatana Dharma. Also, think of the word watch, W-A-T-C-H, as a reminder. We can stay vigilant of our thoughts by watching our W, words, A, actions, T, thoughts, C, character, and H, heart, watch. When these 5 human values and practicing witness consciousness or self-inquiry are missing from daily practice, from family interactions, and from the society, then continual cataclysmic disasters result. We're seeing this now. Now, how can you tell if you've been caught in the dead-end street or snare of miracle phenomena? And there is nothing wrong with loving to see miracles and loving to be used by God for them. But miracles come and go. Seek that which never goes anywhere and which has always been. When we focus more on the latest miracles as a distraction and an entertainment, as an avoidance of practicing the presence within, or fixing attention on the tone within, and practicing God's teachings, then we're merely postponing the real spiritual work of purification. There are 4 ways to tell if you're stuck in the miracle cul-de-sac or dead end. Number 1, addiction to miracles as a distraction, which I just mentioned. Number 2, specialness or separation creeps into your psyche. That is, you can develop a very subtle, slippery, unnoticed sense of superiority or self-righteousness, as if you and your group are the saved ones, the special group, hence more enlightened or advanced than other people or groups. This is the serpent of ego slithering unnoticed in the grass beneath your feet. Actually, the ego is inside of everyone. Number 3, you neglect daily time seeking God within. First and foremost on the pathless path is self-examination, self-inquiry, forgiveness of ourselves for our grudges and resentments against God, and forgiveness of ourselves for all of our stories about how we have been wronged, rejected, abused, or neglected by God or other people. 4, the soul-winning motivation. You believe that you are supposed to, quote, win souls for Jesus, or for God, or Sai Baba. It's by example that people are moved to change. God is in charge of soul winning, and He merely uses all of us as signposts, pointing inward to the heart as the way to the destination of awakening. This process of waking up is an ongoing, inside, do-it-yourself job, lifetime to lifetime. It takes total dedication and vigilance every moment. And don't pretend to be spiritual. That's disgusting. Even babies and pets see through that facade. Here's a good basic practice. Instead of pretending to be more spiritual than you actually are, just tell the truth faster to yourself, to God, and to others every moment. Now that is powerful and humbling and freeing. Finally, you can learn how to do this very powerful practice of self-inquiry by watching the videos of the self-realized teacher, author, and therapist, Ms. Byron Katie, famous for The Work, capital T, capital W. Go to thework.org. Her path is the ancient path, the highest path of non-duality or Advaita, though she never uses Sanskrit terms and is totally natural and hilariously funny. You might also want to read the very powerful set of 3 books by Jesus called A Course in Miracles, and especially Practice the Lessons. I often say that A Course in Miracles is non-duality in 3 volumes. The Byron Katie work is like A Course in Miracles on a postcard. In A Course in Miracles, you will learn about the purpose of miracles as a bridge to awakening. You'll also learn about true forgiveness, which is not my forgiving you in a self-righteous, lordly way. It's about truly forgiving myself for all the stories that I have made up to rationalize and to justify staying in victim consciousness, thus maintaining my illusion of being separate from God and others and of being a victim. There are no victims, just people learning lessons. When we keep asking of every thought, moment to moment, is this true? We finally see through our stories of separation and we drop them. The only story that we don't drop, ultimately, is the one about how we finally saw through the veil of illusion, fell in love with God all over again as our very self, and the one which we all are as a divine being, and which everyone else is as well, though they don't know it. Discovering this priceless and timeless truth is why God has sent all of us to earth, to tell each other the really good news that we're not hopeless sinners, but that we are really divine beings, embodiments of love, made in our Father's image, and we've been confused and selfish, which has hurt us and others. We can drop that burden of rebelliousness now, or not. God has always loved us. It is we who have left Him in search of comfort, security, and the pleasures of the world, which will always let us down. For the next stretch of the journey, God needs spiritual warriors, not beggars. That means to get on the glory bus at the bus stop and to take the journey, which can be long or short, we need focus and resolve and the treasures of His grace, which He has assured us if we will do the work. The more of the treasures of God's grace we're given through blessings and miracles, the more we need to go deeper in surrender or acceptance of what is. If we think that just because we've been given some gifts of the Spirit that we've really arrived spiritually, that would be a huge mistake. It would be like the foolish woman who had walked to the bus stop to catch the bus to her destination, thinking that when she'd reached the bus stop, she'd already arrived at her destination, when actually she hadn't even boarded the bus yet. What does this mean? It means you have to do your inner work as the primary focus. When we start doing the work of healing facilitation in any setting, that's when our biggest lessons begin. It's crucial to remember that any time I am upset with anyone, that they are my mirror in that moment for the work that I need to do. Have they pushed my buttons? Am I heated up, worked up, insulted, or incensed? When I think that anyone is less than perfect, in that moment I am insane. When I think that they are selfish, for example, then I need to ask to be shown by the inner spirit all the ways in which I'm selfish. And in that moment, I can close my eyes, go inside, let go of my story, and not open my eyes until I experience the peace, spaciousness, freedom, love, and joy that are my true nature. Then I can open my eyes, having released my thought addictions of anger or resentment, for example, and rectify and release my self-absorbed habit energies and patterns. Beloved heart, reconcile yourself to the fact that you have created on some level all the challenges and mirrors in your life for your own growth. I know you absolutely don't want to believe that and would much rather continue to blame other people and God. But everyone who appears in your life to allow you the chance to practice on them, to develop your own equanimity, is God in disguise. And when you get the joke, you can silently thank them for playing that role. Pretty soon, you'll be laughing all day long. It's the most fun game on the planet to see our own projections and let them go. Now, you might ask, well, how would I know that I'm completely committed to experiencing the truth of being within myself? How would I know that I really, truly want to wake up once and for all? Please, make it very plain to me. Beloved heart, this is as clear as we can make it. You must want to wake up to who you truly are, as much as does a person whose hair is on fire fiercely wants to have the flames doused. You must want this above all else, as does a person who is rushing over a bridge made of hair across a chasm of fire. The desire and focus are intense and immediate. Meanwhile, resolve to stay home in the heart, practicing the awareness of the presence of God inside, fixed on the sacred tone of the Holy Spirit, which is who you are. Beloved heart, if you truly wish to reach the ultimate destination of self-awareness, you must truly crave to do so. Now, to be realistic, probably the majority of people who hear this program will have no interest in self-realization. For those that do, they can find the wonderful YouTube video course called Master the Mind by Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, which details how to experience realization. Whatever you do on your path is perfect for you and is none of my business. Only a small percentage of the most highly evolved people usually become realized in each century. Soon, though, through God's grace, tens of thousands will be assisted to realization to help shift human consciousness and to anchor in the higher frequency of the new golden age of peace and plenty.